What's going on, guys? It's Rachel back again with another amazing member-only video. Today we're going to be making adorable glitter epoxy pens. Now we're going to be putting a fun spin on these and making them look like classic pencils. So we're kind of gearing this towards a teacher gift idea, but it does not in any way have to just be for teachers. Once you master this awesome trick on painting these and making them super glittery and beautiful and sealing them and putting epoxy on them, you will be able to use this type of technique for so many different projects, no matter what you want to make it for. We even had an amazing member, Crystal Williams, make some epoxy pens and send them to us, and we all use them all the time. We love our glitter epoxy pens. We love that you can personalize them and customize them however you want to. So today we're making them look like adorable little pencils and adding a fun little name or quote to it. So I can't wait to go ahead and jump into this. We're going to talk about some of these supplies. However, all of the supplies used in this video will be linked for you guys. So don't worry if you miss anything. They'll all be linked. So if you wanted to click and buy anything on this table, you totally can. So let's go ahead and start with this side and then we'll move over. So for our pens, we're using the Papermate Ink Joy gel pens. These are the ones that have been recommended to use with glitter epoxy pens. So that is what we're using. We have some straws here. These are going to be the key to today's project. We're going to be using these to spray paint on, to glitter on, to epoxy. We're going to be using these all the time today. So if you want to know where we got these, Amazon. We will link everything below for you. We have some epoxy. This is just the amazing Clearcast brand. We have 2 little cups and a craft stick, some gloves, and we have some masking tape here. We also have this amazing cup spinner. This is an awesome new product that we have tried out. We love it. It's an adorable, fun color too. And all that we are going to be doing with this masking tape is going ahead and taping these straws to this so that we can tumble and make sure that our pens are drying properly. So that's going to be super awesome as well. We have some pieces of paper to make sure that nothing gets on our work surface to hold the glitter and the epoxy spills and all of that fun stuff as well. We have some scrap black vinyl. You're not going to need much for this project at all. So we just had a scrap. And we have some Cricut brand transfer tape. You want this to be a clear transfer tape, which is the only reason why we're not using our awesome masking paper transfer tape. You're also going to need some alcohol and some paper towels. I forgot to put them on the table, but you're definitely going to need those as well. We also have some sanding blocks. These are amazing. I will link you guys a multi-pack. We use them all the time. If you don't have any of these, sandpaper works just fine, but we really love these sanding blocks. We have white spray paint and clear polyurethane. This is the clear satin, but it can be whatever kind you want. The only purpose of this is to lock in our glitter to make it easier to apply our epoxy. I also want to go ahead and mention, as we were talking about our scrap vinyl and transfer tape, because this whole process is so intensive in the glitter and epoxy process, we have went ahead and cut and weeded our sayings. We have one for a teacher, Miss Summer, and one that just says inspire, so you could give them out to anybody you would want. So we have went ahead and cut and weeded and applied transfer tape to these for us today. I will share with you a little bit of advice about kerning and the font that we use and all that good stuff, but we do have all of that pre-done to save us time with this awesome project. One thing I do want to highlight is this awesome foam square. So this is floral foam, and we have used it for about a week now as we were prepping and testing all of our pens, and it does an amazing job at holding up these straws very, very steady. They're not going anywhere. So we love using a little floral block for that. That's a great hack if you guys aren't really sure where to put your things while they're drying. That is a great option for you. We also have some needle nose pliers. We're going to use this for several things during this process. The number one thing is to get any dried epoxy out of the crevices in our pen. It's going to be very helpful for that and helpful to help us put it together as well. So we have different types of glitter here. We have glitter from 143 vinyl, which we love, as well as a matching or close paint color. So this is DecoArt Americana acrylic paint, and this is the color Carousel Pink. And this is Pink Flamingo in the Starcraft glitter. So cute. Now we have Starcraft glitter in the color Sunbathe and Americana paint in the color Brown Sugar. Super adorable as well. And now we have Itty Bitty Bikini. What a name. That is the name of our glitter from 143 Vinyl. And the paint color is called Golden Yellow. Now we also have this Swordfish color glitter as well. This we're just going to apply with a brown paint. Really, you can apply it with whatever you want to. The paint does a great job of being camouflaged over the glitter anyways. So this is what we're going to be using just for a little bit of our project. So we didn't have to dig for a gray paint, although if you have it and you want to use it, that's fine. We also have some little paint brushes. We have itty bitty brushes, the smallest we could find, and then a paper plate to be able to squeeze a little bit of our paint on to minimize waste. Let's see here, guys. I think that's almost everything. I can't really think of anything else that we'll be using. If we happen to use any other supplies, they will be linked for you guys in the supply list, as well as I'll mention them throughout this video if we did forget anything. But for right now, guys, let's hop over in Design Space really quickly and share with you the font we're using, and I'll help you kern a word together and everything like that. And then we'll get into the glitter pen process. Okay guys, first of all, I want to let you know the size you have to work with your finished pen. I think that's going to be super helpful for you guys, especially if you wanted to go ahead and cut this before you do the epoxy process. We have already cut out the middleman and we know the around about size that you guys can make your saying or your word or your name. So definitely listen up, jot this down. I will have it in a little pop-up down below as well, but you can use a word or phrase, a maximum of 4 inches wide. Now, give or take, because you might paint yours a little bit differently, but just for the design we have, the area we have to work with, we have about 4 inches max to work with and 1/2 inch high. I would not go over 1/2 inch at all. You will start to distort your words super easily. So if you keep it 1/2 inch, that's going to be definitely for the best. Here we have 3.5 by 5. This is probably right around, this is the sweet spot here. So if you want to, definitely make yours a good size, 3.5 by 5 is really awesome. And here we have this cute little word inspire, which we're going to place on our pen as well. And this is only 1.75 by 0.5, which is totally fine. This is another fine size for us, as long as you don't go over 4 inches by 0.5 inches. So that's super important. So let's go ahead and grab a text box here, and we're going to use the font Possessions here. So now we're going to type out Inspire. And here you can see this adorable font. I love this. It's a little bit rough if you can tell around the edges, like it's not perfectly smooth or anything. It definitely has some cute character to it. And I think this is gonna look adorable on our pen. So we're just gonna make this really, really big and we're gonna kern this. So we're gonna bring down our letter spacing right here. And I'm gonna stop there. It looks really nice, but you can see that I and that R need a little bit of TLC. So I'm gonna ungroup here and reposition that R right where I want it. And once I like how it looks, you guys know the drill, you have to weld. And once you've welded, you can size it all the way down. And I have sized mine, like I mentioned, to 1.75 by 0.5. And then this Miss Summer, we're not gonna be using this today, but this is on the finished project, is 3.5 by 0.5. Now you would just go ahead and click Make It. And whether you're using a piece of scrap or not, if your scrap is large enough, I think it is super, super wise to go ahead and cut out 2 of each of these. Again, if your scrap allows, because there's just so much room for error when cutting this small, guys. Make sure that you have a good quality vinyl. Make sure that your mat is sticky. Make sure that you have a new fresh blade in here, because words that are super small are super hard to cut and hard to weed. You might even have to reverse weed this. If you guys don't know what reverse weeding is, we do have a video on it in that 30 Days to Master Your Cricut course, as well as on the YouTube channel. So if you guys want to learn about that, you totally can. It's just a little bit easier doing super small things like this, but you don't have to do it. You can go ahead and click continue, select premium vinyl as your setting, go ahead and cut it, weed it out, and add your transfer tape. That is where we are as well. Okay guys, the first thing we're gonna wanna do is grab some of our pins. So we're just gonna take one for right now, and we're gonna take this pin apart. All you have to do to take it apart is twist off the little nose of the pin, right like that. That pops out, and then this pops out. This piece pops out, and finally this piece. This goes in this, and this is the top of the pin where you push it. Then your pin sits like this, where you can push that back piece of the pin, and this screws right on over top with that spring to allow your pin to be used properly. So this is exactly how your pin will go. This is a good future reference because it could be in a lot of different pieces. So definitely reference that if you have any trouble, and then we'll also go with you to put this back together as well. So you don't need any of these pieces for the actual painting and epoxy process. So we're gonna set all of these to the side. And we wanna remove this part from the pin here. We don't want this little clip at all. So all we're gonna do is pick it up just enough to grip it and then twist it sideways. It will pop off really, really easily. And now we're gonna take our sanding block and sand that down. While you're sanding this down, you also want to go ahead and sand the rest of your pin. I know you might be thinking it doesn't seem necessary, but it really does help all of that paint and everything just stick to your pin better. So just go ahead and sand your entire pin, making sure to sand down that little part where we broke the clip off as best as you can. The smoother it is, the better. All right guys, once your pin is nice and sanded, you can take one of your straws in the pack here, and we're gonna just push it right here on the pin. Now it does stay in place pretty well. It would take a bit of force to be able to pull this off here, which is amazing. We want a good tight fit. So with our pin now on our straw, you're gonna take some spray paint here, and this is just Rust-Oleum white spray paint. It doesn't have to be this kind, just any kind will do. And then take it outside in a well-ventilated area, shake up your spray paint, and go ahead and spray your pen. You want a good even coat. You don't want it to be runny or anything like that. The whole point of this is because we're going to be painting it some fun colors to look like a pencil, we really want to be able to apply that paint well, and we want a good base coat, and a color white is a really good base coat so that you don't have to worry about having to apply so many coats or anything like that. It just really does a great job as a base here. So go ahead, take it outside in a well-ventilated area and spray it. And once you're done, it's going to look like this. So this is the sprayed pen. This is right what we want it to look like. It's been dried for a while. It's not 100% opaque, but that's fine. We just want a good, nice base coat on it. So this is the area we'll be working with first, and we're gonna start painting. And just to show you guys what we're going for, this is gonna be the finished product here. As you can see, it is absolutely adorable. We have a pink glitter eraser, that little metal part of the eraser that clamps it, the actual pencil here, the normal classic color, and then we even made a little zigzag pattern just with a detail paintbrush at the end with some brown glitter just to give it a little bit more detail there. So this is what we're going for. As you can see, it says Miss Summer. This one is finished. It just needs the internal pieces and the tip and everything back in there. But this is what we're going for. It looks super, super cute. And you're going to have to do this in a few sections. So don't get discouraged, guys. This is going to be a project that's going to be made over several hours or even days if you have time, and depending on how many that you're going to make. So just bear with us and be patient as we go through making this amazing pen. All right, guys, I got us a piece of black paper just so when we paint this, you guys can see it better. I know it's a little bit hard with the white on white here. So we have our piece of paper here. I'll slide this other one out of the way, and we're gonna grab our little plate here and apply our paint just where we want it. Just an itty bitty bit of paint will do. We don't want to waste a lot of paint here, so we're just going to do a little bit. And these are the three colors that we're going to be using today. This process will go pretty quickly. Now I want to let you guys know, after we do one layer, I usually will let it dry, but just for the point of this video, I'm not going to let these dry as much as I want to. So definitely bear with us and know that it might look a little bit different if you guys actually allow your layers to dry properly. So we're going to start out with our pink. So what we need is to get our paintbrush, and we can use one of these larger ones here, and we want to open our glitter. We want to have our glitter ready for us. So what we're going to do is take our paintbrush, dip it in that pink paint, and we're just gonna paint where we want our eraser to be. I usually like to make sure I'm on a good steady surface when I do this and go ahead and just paint all the way around it. It's always good to get a base coat with a good hard line where you want it. So that's what I'm trying to do now. Just like that. And that's a pretty good looking line. So I'm just gonna go in and add some more paint so that my glitter will stick a little bit better. Try not to disrupt that line I made though. And now I'm gonna add my glitter. So you wanna make sure that you're working a little bit fast so that nothing dries. So you're gonna take your glitter now and just shake your glitter over that eraser. Go ahead and tap it. And with one of your dry brushes, it's always a good idea to go through here and knock off that other glitter. Now, since I don't want to disrupt up here while it's drying a little bit, I'm actually gonna bounce down here and do my little V's and my little detail like that down here. So I'm gonna use my itty bitty paintbrush, and I'm gonna get my brown or gold glitter together. But first, I'm gonna take this and place it right here so it can just be drying. And I'm gonna shut the cap to my pink glitter and open that up and fold up my paper just like a little taco shell and slide all that glitter right back in there. Just tap that paper and then boom, look, you saved all that glitter. Now we're gonna set it to the side. Open up our brown glitter, get it ready. Grab our pen back. And now we're gonna dip our little bitty paintbrush in that brown glitter, and we're just gonna make a little V pattern here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't over worry if it's not perfect. You want to do this while it's wet more than you want it to be perfect, if I'm being completely honest. So just go ahead, do this. Make sure you're getting enough paint on your paintbrush so it stays wet for a little while longer here. And adorable, looky there, done. Now we're gonna take it and put our glitter on it, just like that. Take our dry brush if you have one and knock off all that excess color. Now look how cute this is looking, guys. So, so cute. So at this point, I would allow a little bit of time for this to dry. But since I just wanna go ahead and keep moving on, I'm gonna put this back on our little foam piece, shut the lid, and save our glitter. And again, guys, in a perfect world, you would allow time for this pink to dry properly. But we're just gonna go on in here, make sure that you get your glitter ready, which now we're gonna be using the silver glitter, but we're gonna be using the brown paint, if that makes sense. And you can hold your pen wherever you want to. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint a line right here to be the piece that holds our pencil together in real life. So this piece would just kind of clamp on that rubber eraser for us. So that's what we're gonna do, is just paint a little line there and then add our glitter. So I'm gonna dip it in our brown paint. Now again, I mentioned, just because we're using brown paint does not mean that you have to use the same color glitter. This is just so that the glitter can stick to it, but it does a really good job at holding that glitter for us. So make your line really crisp, just like you did before with that eraser, and then you can work on adding more paint. Now just add a little bit more paint in those areas you want to see more paint. And now you can add your glitter. So just take your glitter and pour it over your project, just like that. Tap it off, and then use that dry brush to brush off that excess glitter from where we don't want it. Now guys, I went ahead and washed this itty bitty brush that we were using for some detail beforehand. We were using it for this brown little detail, and I actually went ahead and washed that because I'm gonna use it to paint in between these little rectangles. I want these to be yellow, but I don't think I can get in those little crevices with a larger brush. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of detail down here below. So I'm gonna take this little brush here and go into those little crevices and just brush with that yellow paint. And then once you have that done, you can add a little bit more paint around the edges here and then add your glitter, just like so. And then while that is still kind of wet, go ahead and get your larger brush and you're just gonna paint the rest of it here. So go ahead and take this and get super close there into that silver glitter, just like so, as close as you can. Just like that, guys. And now go ahead and paint your whole thing. Try and do it relatively quickly since you are trying to fight this from drying here. Also be careful when you get down here to this point of what you've already glittered. You don't want to make it too thick or anything like that. So definitely be mindful of that. And then you can go ahead and add your glitter. And once you think that you have plenty of glitter on this, go ahead and use that straw and tap it off. Just kind of tap on it to get that excess to fall away. And then you're gonna be left with this beautiful pencil and it looks amazing. So we're gonna go ahead and clean up our work surface, save our glitter as always, and allow that to dry for just a little while. All right, guys, at this point, when you have your glitter dry, I would give it about an hour or so, honestly. You want this to be able to dry enough. Now we're gonna go outside again, just like we did with our spray paint with some polyurethane spray. This is the clear satin, but again, like I mentioned, you can use any kind. And you're gonna shake this up and apply a good coat all the way around it. Again, the only purpose of this is to lock in this glitter. So when we tap it and when we add our epoxy, the glitter's not gonna be falling around everywhere. It's just kind of going to lock that in and glue it down for us. So that's the only point of that. So go ahead, take it outside in a well-ventilated area, spray it as best as you can. I'm going to say one good medium coat. Doesn't have to be super thick, just a good medium coat to get all that glitter locked in. And then you're going to want this to dry for about another hour. Now, while your polyurethane is drying on your pen, now is a great time to prep your turner. So we have this attachment already on our turner, and this is an amazing little attachment for us. So we're just going to pop that right on there. And what we're going to do is take our straw, just one of our straws, and some of this masking tape. And I'm just going to place this straw on this masking tape just like that. And I'm just going to tape it down. There we go. Now you can add another piece of tape if you want to, but really, guys, this is all that it needs to be able to be supported while a pen is turning. Pens aren't really heavy, so it's not like it's gonna take a lot of force or anything like that or start to bend over time. It's super, super simple. Now you can do this on all of these little edges, so you can do these all the way around. You can do them every other one, however many you want to do, depending on how many pins you're making. You can have as many of these as you want on here, but since we're only making one, we're only going to use one today. But this is the same method you would do all the way around your spinner. And then if you turn your spinner on, you can see it's just gonna spin all the way around for us. If you wanna get down low and make sure that your straw is nice and level, we know that that is really important, especially for regular turfices and tumblers that you would use this for. If your project is leaning one way or another, that epoxy could pull up and give you a bulge on one side or the other. And we really want this to be a nice, even coat here. So make sure that your straw is good and straight and not angled any direction when you tape it down. If so, you can untape it and adjust it as needed. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and mix up our epoxy. Now, this is the time, if you guys want to take any kind of personal protection precautions, please do that. I'm very experienced in epoxy. If you guys don't want to use epoxy, feel free to use something else. If you know something that is comparable, whatever you guys want to do is fine. But I love using epoxy, so that's what I'm gonna be using today. We're just using the amazing Clearcast brand here, and we have used this before, but I like to keep it in the box. All we need for this is 2 little cups and a craft stick. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure these with the lines of the cups. It kind of helps me. You just want to pour equal parts A and B into each of these cups. And now you're gonna pour the thinner side into the thicker side. Feel free to measure it out. Most resins and epoxy kits that you buy have little measuring cups included. So feel free to measure it if you are a beginner using epoxy, but it's a really simple process. Now when you have both parts in one cup, just mix it up. And you can see how little I'm using, guys. Like seriously, it is just a teeny tiny amount because we really don't need a lot for these pens at all. The first coat of epoxy for your pens will be a bit of a thicker coat, just letting you guys know. But that second coat will be a thin coat because all that second coat is doing is going to be sealing your vinyl. So we're just going to do this coat a little bit thicker because we want a good base to be able to hold that vinyl well. I also want to go ahead and mention I do not recommend any thick or coarse glitters. I am a fine glitter gal, especially when it comes to epoxy. So yeah, that is what I choose every time, is fine glitter. I think it does way better than a coarse glitter does. Now, once you have this good and mixed up, you can throw away your craft stick or you can keep it, whatever you want to do. And now we're going to bring in our tumbler turner here and place our paper right here on our work surface. And we're going to take our pen, and this pen will be dried, so you can just pull that right off of there and pop it right on your straw that's on your turner here. And what we're going to do is leave the turner off for right now. And I'm going to make sure that this glove is pushed all the way to the edge of my index finger on my right hand. And I'm going to dip my finger in that epoxy here and go ahead and just feel that glitter with this epoxy. I recommend this because I love to feel it on my hand. This is the best way for me personally to know where I have and have not placed enough epoxy. And as you can see, I'm just kind of holding this straw in place here with my other hand, my non-dominant hand, just because I want to make sure that I don't bend it accidentally, because again, I already went and checked and made sure that everything was nice and level. So once you get the front and the sides pretty well covered from what you can feel right now, you're going to turn on the turner just a little bit to let this turn. So I'm going to turn it on and let it turn just a little bit. Then I'm turning it back off. And this is just so I'm not feeling rushed or anything like that when I'm applying this epoxy down onto my pen. I also want you guys to note that in my cup here, I have no glitter, and that is a sign that you did a really good job with your polyurethane. You don't want to overly spray it, but you really want to lock in that glitter so that you don't have to worry about it later. Especially if you were using this technique on more than one type of epoxy pen, you don't want to be mixing your glitters or fine glitter in your epoxy or anything like that that you want to transfer to other projects that aren't being used with the same colors. So just really get in here, guys, with your finger. Make sure you're getting the tip around the back where the pen push will be. Make sure you're getting all the way around it. And if you can feel with your fingers that it's a good thick coat and you can't feel a lot of that glitter, you have done your job. Now you can turn your tumbler turner on and just go through here with your finger. This is what I like to do here, and get off any of this excess, just like so. And just go through here with your finger and make sure you have a good coat. And guys, this will need to turn for about 6 hours. So you're gonna leave this here to be able to tumble and turn, again, like I said, for 6 hours. That's how long it's gonna take. Now, we thankfully have prepped a stage after this one, as well as a stage after that. So we'll be able to share with you the entire process in this video. So as far as this goes, this guy will need to sit here and turn for about 6 hours. So just let him do his thing for 6 hours, then you can take him off of the tumbler turner or let him tumble even longer, whatever you want to do. We will stop it at 6 hours and place him on our foam block here and allow him to fully set overnight, about 12 hours total. Okay guys, after 6 hours of this tumbling and another 6 hours-ish of it being able to cure, this will be nice and cured and look great. The next thing that we're gonna do is sand this. You want this to be nice and smooth. There's just a couple of areas where it could definitely be smoother. So take a good grit sandpaper or sanding block and sand this whole thing. Don't get super worried if you see it getting a bit opaque here, it getting a bit cloudy. That's totally fine. Just keep sanding until you can feel everything is smooth. And once you have this good and sanded, you can see it's kind of messy. You can go ahead and clean up your work surface, and then you will take a paper towel here with some alcohol on it and clean off your pen. Just wipe all that gunk off your pen, wipe your work surface as well. Just get everything nice and clean. Now we're gonna apply our vinyl to our pen here. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab our vinyl. And like I mentioned, we have pre-cut this and pre-weeded it. So if you're brand new, we do have tons of videos on exactly how to do this. But we're gonna go ahead and remove this transfer tape. Perfect. And we have just cleaned our pen as you saw. And you have to think about what hand you are. I'm right-handed, so I kind of want to read mine this way. And I think it's going to be cute if the sentiment is up towards the front instead of the back or in the center. I kind of think it's going to be super cute way up front. So go through there, look at your pen, see where you want this to be the front, where you want, maybe where it's smoothest, whatever you want to do there, and lay it down. And once you have it down just a little bit, pick it up, look at it, make sure you like where it's at. And if you do, just press that center and then start pressing the sides down. Since this is a curved surface, you definitely want to be careful as you're applying this. Just apply some pressure, and then you can remove your transfer tape. And that's how easy it is. Absolutely adorable. So this is the one that says Inspire, and then again, this is the finished one that says Miss Summer. So you can see the difference here. Super cute though. It's a good size for the pen. So yeah. So we are on the stage now where we're going to apply more epoxy to this. So we're going to bring our tumbler turner back in, place our pen back on there, and grab our epoxy again. If you don't have any, mix the same amounts just like we did before, the same equal parts A and B. Stir it for about a minute or 2 minutes. You really want to stir it nice and a long time, because if your epoxy is not well mixed together, it's not going to cure properly, and you really want to avoid that. And guys, we are gloved back up just like before, and we're going to go ahead and put some epoxy on our pen just like before, except this time it's actually easier because we're only adding a little bitty bit of this epoxy. We just want enough to really give that a good glossy finish where we did sand it and add that vinyl. And all we're doing for this is just trying to cover up that vinyl and really seal everything in place. So it's not like you have to put a ton of epoxy on this layer, because you do not have to. We're gonna go ahead and turn this on and add our epoxy. Turn that spinner off. Just go through just like before and make sure you have a good coat all over it. And once you're satisfied with your coat, again, same process, same way, same amount of time. Go ahead and allow this to spin for about 6 hours and then cure for another 6. And after that, you can put all the hardware back on. So we're gonna come back, we're gonna place this over to the side to be able to tumble for a good long while, and then we will come back with our amazing pen that's ready to be reassembled. Okay guys, this is all the supplies you'll need for this very last step. Now with these needle nose pliers, you can go into these little crevices here and clean out any of that epoxy that might have dried in there. This is a super necessary step in my research and testing, because whether you want it to or not, epoxy gets under there as well as some paint and things like that. So what we're gonna do first for this particular pen is add this silver cap back on to this. This is how it's going to look. You have this little piece and this little piece. You're going to just pop it right on there together. and you're going to put this in the nose of the pen. So this is the back where the eraser and the push top will be. So we're just going to pop that in there. Just like that. You can see it right there. Perfect. And now you have your spring that goes right here where your ink cartridge is, just like that. You're going to place this side down into your pen, just like that. And now the last part is this part, which just screws on. And then if you're having a little bit of trouble screwing it back on, you can go ahead and use those pliers to tighten it. But this one really tightened it beautifully. And again, it is a beautiful working pen. So cute, writes really well. It's beautiful and smooth. I love the way it turned out. I absolutely love the way that these pens turned out. If you did too, feel free to create everything that you want with these. I cannot wait to see what you create with them. Definitely pop it in the Facebook group and tag me because I want to see your amazing creations. Thank you so much for following along. I hope that you enjoyed another member-only video, and I'll see you in the next one.